And as Nigerian politicians hit the campaign trail ahead of the 2023 general elections, many of the countrymen who are concerned about the direction of Nigerian state want to know how each and every of the candidates intend to tackle the very issues threatening the corporate existence of the nation. What should shape the national conversation or agenda? Baba Yusuf is a CEO of the NACO Free Trade Zone, and he joins us now. I want to say a very big welcome to you, and thank you for joining us here on Newsday. We know that officially the Independent National Electoral Commission has given the green light for political parties to begin campaigning and canvassing for votes towards the general elections next year, February. Talk to us. For the last 6 months, we've been seeing internal wranglings. We've been seeing inter-party conflicts as against political parties coming out with clear blueprints on how to lift Nigerians, maybe out of poverty, secure the nation, or maybe make the nation economically viable. How, so far, give us your assessment of the political parties and how they've fared up until now.
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, just to make a quick correction, I am a former MD of NACO Free Zone. I think.
All right, duly noted.
And say it's a long time ago.
All right, thank you very much.
I am the CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. I'm a strategist and policy analyst, but it's okay. Just to put things in perspective, yeah, it's the tempos are rising and the timelines for campaign has kicked off. The clock is now ticking down. Talking about the internal wranglings of the political parties, it has become more or less a routine, traditional thing, especially during the election cycles. Almost all the parties have these wranglings, top to bottom. Albeit now with the kickoff of campaigns, you see alignments and realignments by the various political parties trying to put their houses in order and to move on, where things are not really fully resolved if they couldn't. So by and large, we expect to see, more focus on the subject matter, which is campaign, candidates, top and down, vertical, horizontal, across the contestants to come and tell Nigerians what they have to offer. I expect to see more issues-based campaigns, especially with regards to how these contestants intend to deliver the dividends of democracy moving forward. The tempo of Nigerians is very high. The political consciousness has, increased, rightly so, and I'm sure the candidates are very much aware of that. So I expect their sound bites and their blueprints will be clear with the view to try to convince citizens to vote for the various political parties.
All right, we're in a state of expectancy because we're yet to see anything major materialize from most of the behemoths in Nigeria. Now, let's talk to me about the phenomenon which is the Obidient Movement that is gathered quite a lot of pace, and it seems to be sweeping across the political plane in Nigeria. What do you make of this? Do you think they have enough within their ranks to upset the apple carts?
Well, first of all, the situation in the country has made it necessary for people to start thinking or seeking for more options, and for rays of hope with regards to, how the country should move forward progressively. So the Obidient Movement, basically based on Mr. Peter Obi, His Excellency, former governor of Anambra State, is that result of that concern, or if you like, level of desperation in the country. And Obidient Movement brings freshness in the political arena. We can see it has, if anything, first of all, it has redimensioned the political consciousness of Nigeria across the country. And with this freshness comes consciousness of also the contestants to say there is a new force that should be reckoned with in terms of opposition party, in terms of an opposition candidate for the presidential candidate that is actually pulling crowd, that is becoming a movement. What remains to be seen is if the Labour Party, or rather speak to it from a party perspective rather than the movement, since they have a political platform, to see how they can be able to, go deeper and wider into the political space across the country, across the regions. I see a lot of activities on social media, a lot of sensitization, a lot of mobilization. What remains to be seen is if that marinates down, into the political cycle in Nigeria, and if they are able to convince people across the strata that Labour Party is the option, and indeed that means, Mr. Peter Obi is the right option for 2023 presidency.
All right, Baba Yusuf, let's delve into campaign financing. And we know INEC has spoken about the fact that finances will not be permitted to come directly to candidates if it doesn't pass through the coffers of the Independent National Electoral Commission from foreign donors. And some are even claiming that INEC has failed to sanction the APC and the PDP and others for violating Nigeria's law in terms of campaign financing. You look at this and you say, in the 21st century, as a build-up to 2023, do you think INEC is independent enough to do their job, or probably are they equipped enough to do their job to track and ensure that campaign financing is done by the books and people do not run foul and funds are not pumped in from questionable sources?
Well, to be honest, the entire political system in Nigeria is what I consider a work in progress. The political evolution is happening. So if you ask me, is INEC capable of delivering fair and credible elections? I will say yes, they should be capable. We've seen it in 2015, and we've seen a lot of improvements in the subsequent elections that have taken place. Could things be better? Of course, things could be better. The entire country is evolving, so the dynamics are coming in and people are adjusting accordingly. With regards to the foreign donations, caveat by INEC, which cuts across all parties at the moment, what I expect to see is actually, the action beyond the narratives, because we've seen this kind of either regulatory or statutory, or as the case may be, an interim rule like this, sounded out by authorities in government with due respect. But in executing this, we see sometimes it's not how it is said. As it is, it's a work in progress, like I said. Failure to sanction the political parties, in this case you mentioned the All Progressive Congress, APC, is one of those missteps, as we evolve as a nation. I'm very happy that the political consciousness is such that we are speaking truth to power, we are raising these red flags, and we hope that 2023, the level playing field will actually be, flat for all contestants. And we hope that agencies like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices, ICPC, and all other, regulatory and law enforcement agencies will support in ensuring that any illegality is not committed pre and during and post elections. In this regards, with regards to the foreign donation, if that is the stand of government, but it has to be applied to all parties, there should be transparency, there should be fairness with regards to laws that have been, enacted, or with regards to provisos.
Baba Yusuf, permit me to draw your attention to something you said. Permit me to draw your attention to something you said. You said that...
yes, please, go ahead.
That the political landscape we find ourselves and the supposed unbiased umpire of Nigeria, talking about INEC, they are all a work in progress. But at this stage of our democracy, can we afford to accept that as a standard, that it is a work in progress, understanding that if we do not elect the right and capable people, we can find ourselves in multiple recessions. We can find ourselves in chaos. Is this something that is acceptable, that the umpires should be given a pass, that this whole process is still a work in progress? At this stage of our political democracy, are you sure that that should be accepted at this moment in time?
You see, I think it depends on how you see the cup, half full or half empty. To my mind, I am not saying that we are giving INEC a pass. What I'm saying is the entire country, as far as democracy is concerned, is a work in progress, which means we are evolving. As a student of life and strategy, I believe the only way I can continue to improve is to believe that I've not gotten to that ideal place where I should be. And I believe we are not yet there in terms of where we should be as a democracy, as a nation, right? But that doesn't mean I'm giving INEC a pass in terms of their shortcomings. You know, what we are saying is that the playing field should be level enough for 2023 elections for us to see clearly that the umpire is unbiased and the umpire is delivering. And the political consciousness of Nigerians this time around has shown clearly, and I think INEC is aware of that anything short of what should be standard, you know, will not be acceptable by the citizenry. And that doesn't mean that we are in the Stone Ages. We are making progress. We are, you know, emulating over 200 years democracy, you know, the United States of America. So if we say we are there yet, I believe we are deceiving ourselves. I think facing our realities will make us to improve to get where we should be, you know, and that is, I think, the thought process I'm trying to pass across.
All right, thought process. Permit me to go back because I want to talk about, I would like to talk about vote buying and violence that probably precedes elections and maybe even during elections. With 139 days to go, if and when these political parties get their acts together and they begin to campaign and they begin canvassing for votes, what do you think we should be seeking to hear from these people in regards to the germane problems that Nigeria faces?
Okay, first of all, the thing I would like to hear from all the leaders or all the contestants, especially talking about the presidential candidates, I believe other contestants within the ranks of their parties will follow suit, is to be loud and clear to all their adherents and indeed to citizens that violence is not the way to go, that we should be decent and we should be proper in the way and manner we conduct ourselves. And the leaders will show, or the candidates will show us during the campaign, their disposition to leadership and their ability to manage our diversity right from the time of campaign, how they are able to rally their adherents in how they behave and conduct themselves during elections, starting from themselves. I want to see quintessential leadership during campaign. With regards to the quality of campaign, we want to see granular, distilled issues being put forward on the table. Apart from the House, I want to see, as a citizens, and I believe a lot of us want to see, clarity in the blueprints, clarity in the master plan. And because of the situation in the country, the way we are today, I wouldn't want to hear candidates coming with 4-year, action plans that may yield fruit 4 years from now, and possibly at the next election cycle, they will tell us where we should vote them for them to deliver 8 years after the fact. We want to see demonstrable, measurable deliverables, short to mid-term, and we want to also see low-hanging fruits. People are very, very desperate. We want to see in the next 6-7 months, for example, we want to hear what are we expecting to see, the impacts we are expecting to feel, as a people, socio-economic, national security, and all sectors of the economy and the nation. We want to see that clarity in their sound bites, and in their presentation, manifestos and blueprints. We want to see demonstrable capacities, and competencies in terms of how they come across, while they are doing their campaigns.
All right. Let's touch on voter apathy. It's something that has plagued the general elections we've actually had. Political seasons come, and we're beginning to see the drastic drop in numbers of people participating in that very important process. Do you think that things will pick up this time around? You spoke about political consciousness. Do you think Nigerians are at that place? They're sick and tired of being sick and tired enough to go out and exercise their franchise. Do you think we'll see an uptick in numbers based on the indices that we've seen from economy, security, and what have you? Talk to us about this.
Nigerians have already expressed their mind with regards to the expectations of the numbers of voters turnout in 2023 by the increase by 15% of voters registration turnout, up to over 96 million, voters now registered that we have in capacity, which is a far increase from 2019. But importantly, if we speak to the question of voter apathy, I expect increase in voter turnout because of the sentiments, because of the situation on ground, because of the feelings people are speaking out. Even if you look at the news, the coverages of the turnout of voters, the kind of quality of turnout of voters and the new entrance into the political space with regards to people that are interested to vote this time around shows clearly that people will come out to vote. Historically, part of the reasons why there was voter apathy, I reckon, were basically two or three reasons. One is because of the failure of successive administration in the minds of citizens. And to say, why should I go out to vote again? After all, it is either my vote won't count, or even when they get into power, they will not deliver the dividends of democracy. So people became frustrated and there's voter apathy. Another reason is the rising insecurity in the country, which escalated, triggered escalation started from around 2009, and it has been getting worse ever since. And of course, even when people want to come out and vote, we have seen clearly how either the level of insecurity stopped people from going out in those areas of the country, or people are attacked at polling units and dispersed for them not to vote. And of course, that will discourage other people from coming out. I believe that the All Progressives Congress, as the ruling party, will like to try to demonstrate to people that they deserve another turn. If that is the only reason why we'll have security at the polling units for people to come out to vote, well, we expect to see higher turnout of voters. But indeed, if the level of insecurity does not improve, that is a caveat to say we may not see high turnout of voters in Nigeria. But the people are ready, the people are focused and determined to come out and cast their ballot and demonstrate that they have the power to choose or to change their leaders.
All right, Baba Yusuf, in time past, politicians have been accused of gaslighting people and also stoking the fire in terms of religion and ethnic proclivities. We've seen this play out time and time again. Do you think this time around it will be different? That the people will be a lot wiser to say, we will not allow politicians to use ethnic and political predilections or proclivities to determine where we cast our votes, that we'll vote based on competence and the ability of the leader, not based on who the leader is or where he comes from. Do you think this will change this time around?
I believe that the current political consciousness of Nigerians, especially in the minds of the youth, is such that there will be some level of departure from this very unfortunate situation where, votes are casted along religious, ethnic, or parochial lines. But I am not expecting a huge departure from that due to the current situation in the country. Nigeria currently is one of its polarized time in the history of this country. And we cannot play the ostrich that religion or ethnicity will not play critical roles. And that is why, while we are at it, we expect candidates to show us their capacity to manage our diversities better moving forward. Like you rightly said, a lot of these negativities have been used as instrument or levers of control by the political class to continue, managing or controlling, the people. But the people are getting wiser, and to this, I will speak to us as citizens as well. We are human beings. We have the capacity, we have the mental ability to discern, and I see that discernment, rising by the day in the consciousness of Nigeria, especially the youth. We want that to continue, because if the politicians will see this polarization as an instrument, or as instruments as the case may be, then we as the people that would like our country to be better should see beyond those lines. Because part of the things you see on social media or during discussions even on the streets is that we as a people also allow ourselves to be driven by those parochial interests. I believe that the common issues should drive us. Hunger does not know religion, does not know tribe or ethnicity, right? The insecurity is everywhere. When they come for us, the terrorists or the bandits, they don't ask us what religion we profess or what part of the country we come from. And therefore, as citizens, we should be focused on the issues. We should demand for those things we should get, not to look at the name of the people or the religion. Indeed, it has been demonstrated. Just to remind us, from 1999 to date, people of the faith of Christianity and Islam have led this country as presidents or vice presidents, Senate president or speaker across strata at national level. And indeed, when we talk about the subnational levels, we are led by our kith and kin in a manner of speaking. So the question is it that we have been voting the wrong people because of their religion, or is it that something is wrong with how we see ourselves as citizens? Indeed, if you sit back and look at the political class, they intermarry, they do business together, they shake hands after elections. Indeed, they cross carpet and change parties, and the life goes on. If you look at the candidates today, maybe some years ago, some of them were together contesting election on the same ballot. Therefore, this call is not just for the candidates, but to the citizens themselves that have the powers in their hands to understand that the commonality of issues that should bind us, should bring us together, should be the cohesive force, because these issues we are all facing does not know color, does not know... All right,
Baba Yusuf, permit me because of time. Let us drive this particular topic even deeper. If you say this, then why are people making a fuss about the Muslim ticket? If you speak it the way you're speaking, then it should not matter if the president and the vice president are from the same religion, because some are still insistent that the APC has dared Nigerians to put a Muslim ticket on the ballots of the party.
Well, that is, maybe you didn't get what I was saying. Now, if you look at it, the Muslim ticket of the APC did not just go quietly, even within the ranks of the party. It generated a lot of internal issues. We saw people leaving the political party to other political parties. And that is to tell you the feeling, not just of the political class, but of the citizens, that, religion will play a critical role, maybe less than it used to. And that is to say, this parochial interest will still remain with us for a while. I'll bet we are becoming more conscious, and that are going to overcome that. Now, let me say this. If we want to progress as a nation, then we cannot be hypocritical about religion and say, for example, it doesn't matter. I think candidates should be conscious of demonstrating the ability to create balance, demonstrating the ability that after they get into this office, the respect for our inclusion in our polity is what is paramount in their mind. And I think the body language and their choice and strategy will tell us which candidate we should vote for. The Muslim ticket for APC is their own decision from their own strategic perspectives. But I wouldn't like to narrow my conversation on that. I would like to expand it because we have the power of choice. We have other political parties. We have 18 political parties that have fielded candidates. How citizens will vote will determine the type of leader that will emerge, since we are not having only an APC that presented a Muslim ticket on the ballot. We have options, but I'm saying that even as we are discussing as citizens, we know that these are the thorny issues that are bedeviling the progress of this country, that we want the candidates to demonstrate they will be able to harmonize or deal with. For example, the issue of restructuring. These are critical, germane issues that the citizens themselves have been throwing up, and the political class are either by rhetoric or by narratives telling us they are going to deal with. Whether it is an instrument for them to continue using as an advantage to, hold on to power or get power, the citizens should be wiser than that in casting their ballot 2023. They should be wiser than that before the ballot to ask the right questions in trying to guide their decisions towards 2023 elections.
All right, I want to say many thanks to you, Baba Yusuf, a former CEO of NACO Free Trade Zone, for joining us today and dissecting the issues as we build up to the general elections in 2023. Thank you for your time here on Newsday.